Hello, you're so welcome to today's live show. I'm Sarah Leather from The Sarah Leather, from The Sarah Leather Show. That's my podcast, of course, that helps women to make a million in menopause with their beautiful business. So, the topic of today is all about money, menopause, and the one-to-many method. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a story that I'd love to share with you. And it was several years ago, and I hit a plateau in building my business. There were two or three coaches that I was working with over the period of that time, and they all said one thing to me. They said, Sarah, I can't understand why you're not further ahead. You should be at seven figures by now, or at least close to it. And oh, the shame. I felt at the time, I felt like, oh, are they shaming me about my income? But of course, I realized that nobody can shame us. Well, I don't know if that's totally true because I think in some situations, particularly abusive situations or when we're much younger and we don't have the emotional maturity that we have now, I think that can certainly happen. But like shame is an emotion that we feel in response to our thoughts. So, and of course, others reflect our own insecurities and our own insecure thinking. But I was thinking, what was wrong with me? I mean, my business was growing each year, but so slowly. And, it was only 10 or 20%, which is perfectly normal. But I thought it was so, so slow. I'd previously tripled my business to get to six figures, and I thought I would continue with this exponential growth. And at the time, I was really struggling with marketing, it, which is not so good as I taught marketing as part of my role as being a business coach and mentor for women. And I was running workshops at the time called Easeful Marketing and teaching all about messaging and marketing and very similar to the work that I do now. Yet I was finding it so hard. I was giving myself such a hard time about it as well, which I think is the biggest damage that we do is from our own thoughts, not from the actual situation. And I just wanted to hide. I buried myself in my programs that I was running, served my clients really well, but wasn't showing up. And of course, my business wasn't growing the way I wanted it to, because it won't if we're not showing up. I was really having really realizing that my confidence was really rock bottom, and it was reflected in my marketing and it was reflected in every aspect of my business. So there was a day that I never forget, it's still very present in my mind, and I was on a mastermind call in the mastermind that I was in at the time. I'm nearly always in a business mastermind. And I felt so much shame as I confessed something that was holding me back in my business. I was feeling so stuck. I was really overwhelmed and verging on burnout again. I was struggling to get new clients for my program because I wasn't showing up. And the coach called on me. I had virtually raised my hand and she said, Sarah, what can I coach you on today? And I took a really deep breath and I just blurted out, I effing hate marketing. And I burst into tears, and it was just such a revelation. I didn't realize that I had so much emotion around it and how much I'd been kind of bottling it up inside and how much shame I had around it. So my coach went on to give me a bit of a lecture around how lucky we are to be able to market, and that we live in these times where we can market, and that our women that have gone before us didn't get the opportunities that we get now. And like, I have said this to my clients many times and still sometimes do when I feel like it's the right thing to share. But it just put me into more shame. I just felt like, I really am flawed because I get this. I get how lucky we are. I really understand that. But my brain felt so scattered. I just couldn't focus on any one task, and like I was scrolling all over the place, always had 35 tabs open. This still happens, by the way. But I can laugh at it now, going like, "Time to close some things down." Now my beautiful iMac will tell me when it's just like, "No, nothing's going to work if you don't just close me down and give me a bit of a break." Um, but, what I realized was that marketing wasn't really the problem. It was a symptom of what was actually going on. My confidence was shattered. I was overthinking everything. And it was several months later when it really came to a head. And I couldn't get out of the chair to go to a networking meeting that I was speaking at. And I was completely frozen and emotionally shut down. And it wasn't like I was afraid of going doing this talk. It was a very easy thing to talk about. I'd done it several times before. I was just talking about I was you know, about to step into a role of the lead mentor for the networking association, and it was something I loved speaking about. And I was just completely paralyzed, really. And I sent a text saying, unfortunately, I wasn't feeling well, which was kind of true. I was feeling emotionally unwell, and that I wouldn't be able to make it, and pass on my apologies. And then the next day, I made an appointment with my doctor. I thought I need to go and talk about this, because what I was realizing was this hadn't happened. This was not that this hadn't happened. This was exactly how I'd felt when I probably had undiagnosed postnatal depression many years beforehand, after a couple of pregnancies and also after a couple of miscarriages. And I realized I was very much back in that same place, a very dark place. And I realized, like, hello, menopause, here you are. And it had probably been happening for several years beforehand, since stepping into the realm of perimenopause, probably around my mid 40s. And since doing the research on this, I realized that the biggest symptoms of this time in our lives isn't so much the physical stuff, although it can be for quite debilitating for some women. But having run a really successful health practice in the past, I had managed all that. I'd managed. One day I realized I was having 20 hot flushes a day, and I knew what to take, and it calmed it right down. And it was the physical side of things didn't really bother me that much. It was the emotional health problems that I've realized are so prominent in women, and it's something we don't talk about. Like, several people have said to me, "So you have brought together the two biggest, like, taboo subjects of money and menopause." And I think, yes, we need to talk about this. There's so much support, well, and quite rightly so, these days, although there's still a lot of room for improvement in the workplace with women in menopause. What about women running their own businesses? They're out there seeing all these other women being big shining lights and feeling like they just can't do it, and compare and despair and all sorts of things going on. So the real debilitating aspects that I'm really finding with women at this age and stage of their life are the emotional health problems, brain fog, anxiety, low confidence. Some women feel like, am I developing dementia? Because they forget things, they forget to post things, maybe forget to turn up to a call or something. And no, this is actually quite normal. Yes, you need to get your symptoms checked out, absolutely. But this is quite normal and in during this time. And yes, it can be helped with lots of things, but it also improves after menopause. And it is really a time that you need to step into really radical self-care. And I now use self-care as a strategy, as part of my plan to make a million in menopause. It's got to be part of it. So I got the support that I needed through quite a few different ways, and navigated my way to a more gentle way of marketing in my business. And I needed to niche down, which is where I am now, which is wonderful, and radically simplify my business and have a very simple plan to scale, a really simple scale plan, which is what I do with the one-to-many method, which I'll explain in a minute. And I also needed to recognize that a lot of business coaches um, don't recognize this or are unaware of the impact that perimenopause and menopause can have on women over 40. And because some women sail through it and they don't recognize what's going on for other women. And even myself, after working in with women with hormonal problems for 25 years in my previous health business, I was really um, really didn't recognize it until it happened to me. And I have such a radar for it now. I can spot it. I was speaking with a friend last week, and we met out for a coffee, and she was telling me how she was, she really felt like hitting the pause button in a business, and she just couldn't show up, and but she was blaming it on all sorts of other things going on in her life. And I said, "Have you spoken to your doctor about perimenopause and seeing if that's really what's going on?" And she said, "No." And I'm like, "Well, it might be." And she's like, "Oh my goodness, really?" And I said, "Yes, it's what I hear all the time." So it's such an important thing to recognize. And the other thing that is I've really come to realize is that also most business coaches do what we call in some coaching communities coaching from the A line, the action line, which means that it's all about the action we take. It's like being a taskmaster and you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. But what drives action? Action is driven from our feelings and our emotions. So when our feelings and emotions are not particularly high vibe or not around being focused and committed and determined, then it's so hard to take those actions. So, and where do our feelings and emotions come from? They come from our thoughts. So I realized with myself, the shame wasn't coming from the fact that I wasn't at seven figures. That had nothing to do with it. It was coming from the thoughts I was having about building slowly, that I was flawed in some way, that my business was broken, and the lack of self-belief was really causing those thoughts. So these things are incredibly important when it comes to navigating our businesses, as I said, at this age and stage of our life. And it's not something that only takes 5 minutes. It can be a decade or two of our lives. Most women start feeling perimenopausal somewhere between their early and mid 40s, and then moves into menopause, which can go on until our 60s. So it's just not a 5 minute thing. It's something that's very important that we are aware of how much we need to look after ourselves and how much we need to get the support that's necessary to show up. And because we can't help anybody unless we're showing up. We all want to serve, we all want to make a difference, but we need to work on what are the feelings, what are the thoughts that are driving that so that we can actually take the actions we need to take in our business. Because I'm so grateful now that I have walked and am still walking this long road of this path, and I now get to give the gentle or gentler marketing tools, mindset beliefs needed for women at this time, because I realize that this isn't a time where women should be sitting quietly in the corner, maybe with a fan, haha, and and just thinking about retirement or thinking about things that are about winding down. It is a time when women can truly step into their prime, into the best time of their life, to make the second half of their life the best half, so they can set themselves up with complete financial freedom through their business, so they can use their business as a way of really living on purpose and a full expression of themselves, and do the work that completely lights them up, and do it with confidence, and do it in a way that really feeds their soul, and have enough self-care there to really sustain this for a long period of time. And it really is, I think, an incredible gift. It really is a time that can feel very hard. It can feel very difficult. It can put women on their knees, as it has me in so many ways. But it can be the most amazing time as well. And if you are an experienced coach or consultant or practitioner and you want a simpler way of doing business and you really want to get incredible results, well, I want to invite you to come along to the One to Many Method 5-day retreat that's happening soon. And what is the one-to-many method, I hear you ask? And it is a way of filling your group program, a way of simply scaling with beautiful aligned clients using the simplest way possible, which is online workshops. And running regular workshops is an amazing way to generate leads, to invite people to work with you, to really grow your business as fast as you want it to, but really to sustain you further. I'm on my way to make a million in menopause, and I'm not going alone, and I really want you to come with me. So I would love to see you on the One to Many retreat. We are going to have so much fun. So many women from the last time I ran this and the time before have said it's better than any paid training they've done in the last couple of years, that it was so valuable. Even more valuable than a high-end mastermind. And it is an incredible journey. So it's all about the method and the mindset for scaling your business. So it's all about filling up your premium group programs, or the right way to move into group programs for you. This all works with one-on-one clients as well, but we do focus on one-to-many, but many of our clients do just work with one-to-one clients for now and are stepping into a group program later. But it is really important to know when it's time to scale your business and really go for it. And usually that time is before you think, because it comes down to an awful lot of mindset work to actually be able to step into it. So love you. Come join us on the One to Many Method retreat. This may be the last time I run it this year. I haven't totally decided yet, but I would love you to join us now, because if you're listening to this now, it's your time. It really is your time. So come along and grab this really valuable insights into your business of how you can scale at this time of your life and have the time of your life. I'm so excited for this. So let's do it together. We don't have to do this on our own. It's no fun on your own. It's way more fun with friends. So come along, invite your friends if they'd like to come along as well. And you can see the registration page on my website at thesarahleather.com/retreat. That's thesarahleather.com/retreat. And I'll pop the link here with this recording as well. So feel free to let me know what you need and what resonates with you with this. And thank you for being here. And it's happening soon. So come join us. Bye for now.